course, our friend a little. All right, so here we are again. I'm going to try and get this right this time, Steve. This is season 4, episode 3, Wicked Spursy podcast. Welcome to everybody. Unfortunately, our big man is not here again. Ditched us again.
Mike. You threw off our groove. We all know that it starts with, "Hey, this is Wicked Spursy."
Oh yes,
Mike,
shit.
Steve.
You know, I've
not
been
Dave.
I've been doing that other goddamn podcast for so long that I get my intros mixed up. So let's try this. We'll do take 2. Hey, Wicked Spursy.
You know Dave's not editing this out, right?
Mike, Steve, not Dave. I'll be editing. This is season 4, episode 3. So good cold open, fun restart.
But
Project
most
restart.
importantly, we might not have Dave, but it's not just the two of us fucking around for an hour this time.
That's right. That's right. We have our friend, our fellow member of the Green Mountain Spurs, fellow member of the Green Mountain Bahoys, Jason Weed. Welcome.
The fastest Bahoy. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate
the fastest Bahoy. Yeah. He almost beat the Green Flash. With no
still slower than Green Lightning, but I have been training. Next year.
You know, I think next year you'll have spikes on, so you'll be able to beat that son of a bitch. Yeah.
And by training, I just mean I'm thinking about how angry I am that he beat me because I was barefoot and he was wearing cleats. So it is what it is.
On the wet turf. On the wet turf.
I'll let you. I'll show you the beginning of my training regimen.
There it is.
There we go.
14 stars.
My other excuse, I had about 4 of these in the parking lot before I got to the game. So if I'm 4 beers lighter next year, I'm definitely beating them.
There you go. That's a goal. This is my 4.9 beer, the Great Rhythm Squeeze. They're out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but we'll be discussing some other beers later. This is what I'm drinking right now.
I've got my you can't even see it because I blurred. It's my native land. All beer is brewed on native land.
I love that.
I love that. So good.
I got a 4-pack of that the other day, and it's fantastic.
There it is. Oh yeah.
There we go.
I just had to hold it right next to my face.
We're throwing Dave off here, and we might be throwing everybody else off. We usually start by we know Jay's deal. I want to know what's been going on in your week, Steve. Are you is everything okay with you? Because I don't know.
Fuck if I know.
I don't know if Dave is just like ditching out on us. Oh, I got a work commitment. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all me. He doesn't want my bad luck to rub off on him. Things going well this week. Actually, today was despite the fact that I was in meetings pretty much all day at work, it was a solid day. This is we hired somebody to do at work to kind of oversee my company and our client company is this like bridge between them and bringing us all together. And she is a data-driven lady. And we are best friends now. And we've had so many awesome conversations. It's just one of those things, like when you've got somebody who's in your corner at work and you're talking the same language and you're excited about the same stuff, it just gets you amped. And now I'm here chatting with you guys about something that gets all of us amped. I'm just keeping the good vibes going today.
Listen, man, the data-driven world is entered your life. It has entered the life of Tottenham Hotspur. I'm goddamn excited. Goddamn excited.
That was a perfect transition.
It was, wasn't it? So let's talk about the game a little bit. Like, what did you guys see? Like, let's talk lineups. Because I don't know what you think. I'm going to start with Jay because I don't know what you think, what you thought the lineup was going to be, because what I saw was actually kind of far from what I thought it was going to be. So why don't you start us off?
I mean, it was a surprise to me seeing Mickey Van de Ven, our brand new player, starting first game after being in training for, I don't know, a couple weeks.
Couple days. Yeah.
And then Skip and Bazuma in the midfield together. I wasn't sure about it. I didn't know what to expect. I feel like Bazuma still needs to prove something. He hasn't earned my faith yet, but so yeah, basically surprised. And I was mostly surprised with the midfield and starting Mickey at first, but then Davison Sanchez came on and I wanted it to be just Mickey and Longley out there and Romero. Anybody but Sanchez.
Yeah, I hear you. As far as I'm concerned, any kind of issues that I had with when I first looked at the lineup, I thought Mickey was going to have a hard time getting on the same page as Romero because, as we all know, Romero's a fucking lunatic, and Mickey is. I'm just going to come out and say it. He's a handsome fucking dude. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, the Dutch all have fun names anyway. We all know that.
Mhm.
But like this dude has a fun name. It's fun to say, and he's handsome at that. And he's tall, blonde, and handsome.
Oh,
Can I cut in
you're
real
so
quick here?
fine.
Yeah.
Let me cut in real quick. Who would make a better Ken doll? James
Ooh.
Madison or Mickey Van de Ven?
Van de Ven. I think he's got the blonde hair.
Think
He's got the nice coif do.
Yeah, but Madison's, he just has these very pointed, chiseled features. Like he is,
Yeah.
especially for an Englishman.
I lean slightly to Van de Ven because I haven't seen a Ken doll with full arm tattoo sleeves yet.
Fair enough.
And I think that's the difference.
I think they're coming. They're
Sorry,
on
keep
their
going,
way.
Mike.
So yeah, I didn't know if I was going to be able to trust Van de Ven back there. We'll get into that a little bit. My midfield, I was very surprised to see Skippy out there. So that's where my surprise came in. I thought 100% it was going to be obviously Madison, Basuma, and Papsar. But you know, I mean, all credit to Ange as you go with the hot hand. You know, Skippy put in a hell of a performance against Barcelona the week before, and you know, you ride the hot hand. So I thought, you know, great, let's do this. Let's get on this horse and see what happens. You know, and in the front, kind of expected, you know, what we saw out there. We knew we were going to get Decky. We knew we were going to get Sonny. And I loved the announcement of Sonny as captain. I think there's no other guy I could have gone to. And Jay's wearing his Sun shirt, yeah. And there's no other guy I could have gone to, and I think there's no other guy that the team could have, you know, trusted to put that armband on out there. No more than Sonny.
But what about the vice captains? Now, surely that's got to be a surprise.
The vice captains, yes. Yeah, it's slightly a surprise.
I mean, look, Romero, the person who not 2 minutes ago you were sort of suggesting might be a little bit off the boil a lot, or on the boil, I guess. The dude is, he's something, man. He is something. I don't know if I would have pegged him as a leader per se, but I guess I see it. I think I do. I really do. He's just one of those guys who seems to be smarter than I think he lets on when he's playing. Like he does some dumbass shit when he is playing and making those runs forward and getting caught in weird places. But, you know, outside of just the game, he's really smart. Like he is a smart dude. He seems to get along with everybody on the squad. I can see that. Madison coming in first season, only been with the club for a couple of weeks, him getting a vice captain. At first, I was a little confused. Like I knew he was captain at Leicester, of course, you know, so he's got the leadership qualities, but he wasn't necessarily like, you know, he wasn't a Spurs guy. You know, he just came in and he's stepping right into captaincy. Like that was a little iffy. And to be honest, he won me over, not with anything that he's done at Spurs or on the field. I actually went and I watched some of the video clips of him speaking either in pressers, or I guess he does his own little things sometimes where he just puts out a video clip of him, you know, talking. He's another one who he's way more humble than I thought he was. He's willing to listen to criticism, particularly from, you know, some of the commentary guys, your Jamie Carragher's of the world. He's able to listen to that, to digest it, to process it, and to respond to it either with his work on the field, or, this is why I'm not going to do this. This is why I do it. Something. I'm really high on Madison right now. I'm so happy that I went down that rabbit hole. He's another one who's just this. If he were to end his career today, he could go into color commentary on any network and just be the superstar. That dude knows his shit.
He's got my he's got my vote of confidence. From the get-go, it seems like he always wanted to be here. We know that he wanted to be here last year. Now we know that he was super high on Spurs last year, wanted to come in even though we were in the middle of a fucking shit show. I
try not to think about last
year.
He
likes the club. He likes the history and the culture, and the fact that we're changing the culture of the club now is even better. Culture club. So yes, thank you.
Sorry. I got you.
So he's, the culture of the club is changing, and the fact that Ange said whether or not you come here, you're going to see a different Spurs. That, and he still fucking came, tells me that dude is fully on board. He's fully poised, and on top of all that, he dropped 30 fucking points for me in my DraftKings. So I'm not throwing that baby out, out with the dishwater. Whatever.
So we've talked lineup, we've talked captains, but let's talk Ange now. Before we even get into the game, because there's still a lot for us to unpack here with what we saw initially and the approach. When Ange comes out and says something like clean slate, everybody starts at the same level for me, you got to earn it, it's all fine to say that sort of thing. We've seen coaches come into Spurs and say similar things, clean slate, but it's another thing for somebody like Ange to come in and do it, right? To give people their opportunity to shine, to bring people in from out of the cold, to give them chances. And when they take the chances, great. When they don't take the chances, he doesn't even throw him under the bus. I'm skipping to the end of the game here, but it's an important one for me because it's relevant to the starting 11. Richarlison, he was the big question mark. Can he reproduce what Kane did for us? And showed him the faith, put him up front, let him go. He really didn't do much. I think we all can agree on that. He had some great runs in the beginning of the game. He was moving around a lot. Service wasn't coming to him. He kind of died out when he did get his chances. He didn't take them. Ange covered for him. And I loved to see that. He basically came out and was like, look, the team didn't work with him enough in that first half. He was doing the right stuff. I'm not just going to look at one game and say he's out of here. He's not the Kane solution. We need to go to the transfer market. He's backing the player. He's supporting him. He's trying to show that it's not an individual. It is a team. And just putting together a team. What we saw that first 11, first 12, if you count Sanchez coming in for Romero less than 20 minutes into the game, everybody is gelling. Everybody is given that chance and credit where it's due. And that's on Ange. All Ange for me.
Yeah, Jay, what do you feel like are kind of the intangible things that Ange brings? I mean, outside of a different system, is it the fact that he's here to change the culture from kind of a toxic you're going to do what I say culture, or is it the fact that it's a newer, exciting system, or is it both?
I think what he really has is confidence, because he's proven that he can do it at different clubs, and he's kind of just made his way up and made his name in different leagues. And I think he's just riding his confidence right now, and he's proven he can do it before. So I think, he's just like, this is what it is. This is how it's going to be. We're going to use our guys. I'm going to put my trust in them. And, we don't see what goes on in training or whatever. So we have to take his word for it. But I love his attitude, and I love his confidence.
So let me ask
a lot
you
of hope
guys
for this year.
let me ask you guys something that will bring us right into the game, because I know people are probably sitting here like, when are they going to talk about the game? Like, we get it. Yeah. What surprise, like, lineups aside, when they started playing, whistle blew, kickoff, games going, what surprised you guys the most, particularly in that first half?
I'll let Jay go on this one. I've got something in particular. I got two in particular things, but
I've got one myself that I'm looking forward to sharing if you guys are it, but take it away, Jay.
Man, I need to rewatch the game because
Look,
I you go
there's
ahead.
so much. There is so much to unpack.
For me, the biggest surprise was seeing our fullbacks playing centrally at times. Like, that was just there were times where I was doing a double take. Like, why the hell is Emerson Royale at center striker? Right? Like, that's the kind of like, do I need to like get my prescription updated on my glasses? Like, is something going on? But if you watch that game back, you will see at times both Emerson and Destiny, they're moving much more centrally than I think we've really ever seen them. And at times it was frustrating in the first half because you were seeing a lot, it was clear we were trying to play through the center. That was obvious. But it wasn't to the detriment of the fullbacks, which is what we might have seen in prior years. It kind of was to their credit. Like, they were helping facilitate a lot of those moves through the center of the field. It was a very deliberate change and something that I don't think Spurs fans, I sure as shit wasn't used to see that.
Yeah, I think that was my issue. Like, I was looking at it and it didn't make, I was like, are we sure this is the Spurs?
It doesn't make sense.
What is this team?
It doesn't make sense. And to make it even more mind-boggling for me is, I was sitting in Mike, you'll be aware of this. We were in our WhatsApp app chat. And I'm talking about, okay, what changes would I make, right? Like, we're trying to force it through the middle. We're not really getting much after a certain point. It's there's a lot of pretty football being played, but to no end product. Like, I'd like to see, Son hasn't been effective. I'd like to see Perisic come in and try to whip in some crosses, try to play out a little bit more wide. And the biggest surprise of the day for me was Ange doing just that. He took out captain Heung-Min's Son and put Ivan Perisic in to try to whip crosses into the box as a different game plan. When was the last time you guys saw Spurs do literally anything else aside from the only game plan that Conte had, Mourinho had, Nuno had, Mason had?
I can tell you exactly when that was. It was the 2017, 2018 Maurizio Pochettino Spurs was the last time I saw that, because even after that, Pochettino didn't do a lot of switching up. He didn't move away from that Wink Sissoko pivot. He didn't move away from that diamond that he found himself in and couldn't fucking fight his way out of tactically. And he even, like, in the Champions League final, didn't ride the hot hand like he fucking should have. A guy brimming with confidence, in Lucas Moura, and God rest his soul. And went with a Harry Kane who had been back on the pitch for 3 fucking days, after being injured for a good section of that Champions League run. Now, for me, the most exciting and there were two pieces to this. The first thing was directly pregame. We're away at Brentford, a place where they lost 2 times. They beat fucking Man City twice last year. All right. This is a team that we know that doesn't lose at home, right? I don't give a shit if Ivan Toney's not there. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, they just don't lose at home. They're a team that's more than willing to play a low block or a medium low block and just chip it over the top. They're like Sea Ghost United in our USL 2 league. It's the same type of fucking thing. So they're more than happy to do that, and because they have forwards that are fast and get out and run like we tried to do, under mostly under Mourinho, kind of under Conte. it's just that kind of boring, sit back and defend and absorb pressure type of defense. So the first thing that I saw, what I thought was fucking awesome, was that we had a club, we had a team, and I don't care if it's under the captain's direction or if it's under the manager's direction, who went over to the away corner, to the away fans, clapped them up before the match during the sanitation issue that I'm guaranteeing that Eric Dyer caused. And then they huddled up in front of them. This is a team that is going to be playing for each other. That was the first thing. The second thing, once kickoff finally did fucking happen, and I was watching at Boston Spurs, and let me tell you what a spread they put on. But and that's a true supporters group, supporters club, and God bless them, and thank you for having us, my son and myself. But what I saw from the second kickoff happened was fast-paced, frenetic pressing. Guys coming forward at top speed, getting Richarlison getting in the face of the keeper. Sonny and Decky moving around on those wings. I mean, putting pressure on those guys to make mistakes. And when you play like that, it causes teams to make mistakes. They try and pass it through the midfield. And luckily, we have a midfield that has, one, skill, and two, confidence, especially on the left and center of that midfield. Basuma, for me, was man of the match, 100%.
Absolutely.
Of course, like Jay said, we do have to take in consideration his season last year, but we also have to take in consideration that he, one, was injured, and then two, had a manager who didn't want him and didn't trust him, and was a fucking prick. And for my money and for the rest of my life, Antonio Conte is a fucking prick. I don't care what he went through last year with his sickness and all that shit. He's a prick. He didn't care about the club. And if you don't care about the club, I don't care about you. But those were the two things, was that and it showed that this is a new Tottenham to me. And I don't care if we had gone out there and lost 3-1, because this is a type of team that is built to beat that type of team that Ange put out there in that kind of system. And that system is new. So let's take that into consideration too. It's a new system. All these guys are learning, and it's going to take some time to bed in and get everybody on the same page.
So you mentioned Basuma as man of the match. If you had to pick two other standouts, who are you giving it to? And Jay, I'm going to ask top three for you as well. So Mike, finish it off, round it off. Top three best players in that match for you.
Top three best players in that match for me?
Yeah.
Basuma.
Absolutely.
Madison. Destiny Udogie.
Destiny.
That young man is going to be something special, and he's going to be a player that in the future we're going to find ourselves hard up to keep. I think he's going to make a big name for himself, and he's going to demand a lot of money coming up. I was nervous at first because, and still, you got to kind of keep it a little bit like, you got to keep it a little bit real, because, that first match, remember how awesome Reggie was when he first came in that first match, how fast he tracked back on that one ball. Like Reggie's first game, I was like, holy shit, we have a left back. That's not named Danny Rose, and
now let's banish him and hope that we can get some cash.
Now we have Destiny pushes forward. He's willing to get into the attack. He has the recovery pace. He's super, I didn't realize how tough and how strong he is. I mean, this is a 20-year-old kid we're talking about. Destiny is going to make all of the difference, I think, going forward on that side. The other side, Emerson Royale, fine. But I think Basuma, again, man of the match for me. And James Madison, market difference from what we've seen in the past. From what we saw in the past few years, you didn't know who was taking free kicks. You don't know who's taking corner kicks. So set pieces. Who's going to be your ball kicker? Is it going to be Harry Kane? Is he going to? Sorry, I didn't mean to say that name. Is it going to be Harry Kane kicking fucking field goals for the Patriots? Is it going to be Eric Dyer kicking it into somebody's ass? Or is it going to be Pedro Porro trying to tell them that he knows how to do this? And them going, nah, fuck you.
No, we got
so
this.
I mean, those are my guys. Those are my guys.
Jay, what about you? Top three?
Definitely Madison. I would say I was really impressed by him and the fact that we have somebody who can step over a free kick, and I feel confident that something's going to happen. We're going to get I don't have the words for it. I'm really excited about the season with Madison being here. Love seeing Destiny and his energy. That was awesome. Again, more encouragement for the rest of the season. I wish our forwards got more action in this game. But I get it, like you said with Brentford, where they just tend to sit back and they had like 30% possession. So, they're just playing defensively and trying not to let us score. So it's not going to be the case for the whole season. But I want to see the forwards get more action. And then I'm a member of the goalkeepers union, so let's give a shout out to our new keeper Vicario.
Holy
He's out
shit.
there, and he did all right.
Dude, Vicario that dude's got a screw loose. He's got to have a screw loose. He worries me in a completely different way that Hugo worried me. And it's interesting, right? Like when he's on the ball, when he's making these insane runs out, like out of his box to try to clear up some balls. I'm not necessarily worried that he's not going to get there. He's fast, he's quick, he reads it well. My concern is this dude going to get like bamboozled and take the guy out and get himself sent off? Like he is chaos. Like
it's almost like another Romero, which is really dangerous. But I love the confidence. You know what? Dude, fucking go for it.
There are people out there who are probably going to be down on Vicario because he's not that calm, collective presence. He's not the Ederson that I think we wanted, or the Allison. But I gotta admit, I do like him. I like, he's got balls. That dude it's gonna bite him in the ass for sure, and we're gonna be cursing his name at some point this season, probably several times. But I'll be damned, he's pretty fucking entertaining.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Like, what are the two things that you saw from Vicario that we haven't seen out of any, and we'll say from the Pochettino era on, any of our first or second choice keepers? What are the things that you saw, and especially different from Hugo? Because we had Hugo getting injured two different times, having to use Gazaniga, who might be the most handsome guy to ever play the game of football. He's fucking handsome. And we had Fraser Forster, big hands like a frying pan. Huge. And then we've had Hugo. So like, and we've had a couple other keepers in there too that we won't mention got actually played in a cup game and by Jose Mourinho, stupidly. What are the different things you saw out of Vicario outside of his youth that we can say we can trust this guy between the posts?
Well, I don't know. He's got to prove it, honestly. And the biggest thing that stands out, like you said, is his youth. It's the fact that he looks 25 years younger than Hugo, and he moves like it too. So that's obvious, but we need to see what he can do. Also, he's Italian, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, for me, interesting thing was the speed. Like that dude, I think we got a little bit frustrated with a lot of our keepers over the past couple of years who would maybe they would think about it too much. Maybe they would, sit back when they should come for it. Maybe that, caught between two minds. For better or worse, I don't see Vicario having that problem. He seems to be, and again, I'm sure we're going to curse this a few times this season. He seems to not think. He seems to react only, whether it's his impressive reflex saves, diving across to keep something out, and any of those incredible looking blocks that he's made, or just rushing off the line to get to a ball before an attacker can. He doesn't think, he just reacts to it, which is, it's chaos. It's exciting to watch. It looks incredible when it comes off, but when he fucks it up is when we are going to be swearing at him and wishing we had a more reliable keeper.
So I totally agree, Steve. It is chaos, and there were times where I was like, what the fuck is going on here? What is he doing? He made two very beautiful saves, and he I honestly believe he does think. I think that he was in position a couple of times where I think Hugo would not have been in position. But what I saw out of him that is different from any of the other keepers we had, first or second choice keepers, is one, he can kick the ball. He can kick the ball
accurately,
and he can throw the ball. He kicked the ball 3/4 of the length of the field a few times, right? He throws the ball well. So his throw, it's not just rollouts, it's his throwouts, his distribution all over the field was pretty goddamn good. He's not just kicking it, shipping it out of the fucking touchline. He's not just shooting it into the middle of the field to nobody. He's directing balls. The other thing that I saw that I really, really loved, and every single time, even if you saw him in the background, was that he never stops fucking talking ever, which means he's communicating with his players that are in front of him. You need to do this. You need to do that, which is what led me to believe this guy is a fucking lunatic too. He's going to pair well with Romero.
Yep.
And that chaos is kind of intentional.
Yes.
There were a few times where I'm like,
I will say,
why the fuck is he out there? And
in regards to his distribution, and this is another thing that I really love seeing this season, the couple of times that he kicked the ball towards touch and it went like up and over the fullback out of play, Ange was pissed. He was not happy to see that. And I think, that's kind of emblematic of what Ange wants to do. He doesn't want these needless turnovers. He wants the players to play deliberately. He wants them to play quickly. He wants them to be accurate, to know what's going on, to get the ball where it needs to be and keep moving forward. When it doesn't come off, he's not just brushing it off like, all right, whatever, that happens. He's just not happy with it. I guarantee when they look back at that tape and see those few times that Vicario kicked it straight out of bounds, Ange is going to be, right in his ear, don't do that. Like, I do not want to see you over kicking it anymore. Like, they're going to work on that. And I truly believe that Ange is going to make Vicario improve even more on his distribution than what we saw in that first game.
I like Steve that he was more willing to, rather than to punt the ball, to put the ball at his feet. Even when there were two fucking dudes pressing him, he'd just roll the ball to foot and play the ball that way rather than just punting it off into fucking nowhere. It seemed to me like he would rather have the ball at his feet to play it instead of possibly making a mistake and punting the ball, into the fucking crowd. like I
Ange
always do when I'm playing FIFA.
Look, there's one last thing I want to touch on, and then I think we have to ask a very important question.
Sure.
And it's a player who I'm deliberately calling out because I feel like it's the elephant in the room. Let's talk Davinson Sanchez briefly. Again, less than 6 months ago, this is a dude who came on to the field under Antonio Conte to boos from the crowd. He was demoralized. His confidence was shot to shit. 17 minutes into this game, after Spurs score an opening goal off Christian Romero of all people, Romero's coming off, Sanchez is coming on. I know that we've all been concerned about Sanchez. I know, speaking for myself, there have been times where I've called for him to just be sold. He's not good enough. He's never going to be good enough. Get him out of the team. What did you guys make of him for the last 70-ish minutes of that game?
I mean, I wasn't impressed, but it was fine. It's Sanchez. We know what to expect from him. So, it's, yeah, like you were saying, I don't know why he hasn't just been sold away yet, but if there's nobody that Levy's willing to pay the money to buy, then we have to keep him. He's got to be that backup role, or the support defender to come in when we have an injury.
Let me ask you this then. Would you rather, let's say Romero picks up that long-term injury for whatever reason and completely screws us, and we do not get another center back in? Who do you play on that side? Do you play Sanchez? Do you play Dyer? Or do you play somebody else out of position?
You play with one center back, because I have more confidence doing that.
Mickey Van de Ven, here we go.
Yeah, it's the Mickey show. No, I don't know.
So I honestly, like,
what do you got, Mike?
Davinson Sanchez, for me, again, never has lived up to that guy that we bought. He had that one really, really fucking great season. Well, maybe 1.5 great seasons.
Relatively great.
Okay, so you have to think though. I mean, he had the confidence of his manager, right? Pochettino. He was playing between two of the fucking best center backs in the league, and Jan and Toby, right? So when you have a guy who is able to just play defense and not have to rely on something that is, we all know is the big liability in a guy like Davinson Sanchez. The guy does not like to have the ball at his feet. He does not like to have to dribble out of pressure. He's not good under pressure when he has the ball. But when he can defend, when he has to defend, and he can do it. He's good at it. I think that I'm not going to give him as much praise as maybe some of the other podcasts have that I've listened to in the past couple of days. I wasn't super impressed with him, but he did a good enough job. I think the fact that he has the recovery pace that an Ange Postecoglou center back needs to have, he's going to be an invaluable piece of this part of this team. And now with confidence, we can say, next away match, we can just maybe bring Dyer along, and maybe
no, don't bring Dyer along.
We'll bring him along, and we'll just say, hey, we're leaving in 45 minutes, and then actually leave in a half hour.
There you go.
Just kind of leave him there. You know what? We could leave him in. Let's leave him in the fucking Newcastle. Send him up north.
Look, I think what you guys are saying about Sanchez is fair, right? He was fine, no more, no less, right? Not spectacular, not Romero.
But he did a really good job, and he played really good defense. I think he was spectacular against Barcelona.
The thing that I just want to say about Sanchez is I've got to give the dude some credit, right? Like his confidence was shot. He was being straight up abused by fans last season. The dude comes in because of a freak injury this game, he made mistakes, right? Like he wasn't perfect. There were things that he could have done better for sure. But I didn't see him sort of retreat into a shell. I didn't see him, try to look for scapegoats or slink back a bit and play a little bit too safe. He tried. He really went out there and he tried to improve. He tried to keep his own gameplay simple, not overthink it, just do what was expected of him, get through the game. And to his credit, he did that. So, I've seen some people on social media kind of trashing him, like he never should have seen the light of day. But on the back of that performance, I'm glad it was Sanchez who went out there and not Dyer, 100%.
Yes.
No question.
Now, that's not to say that I'm calling for him to be starting anytime soon. It's just that I respect the dude for, going out there, doing his job. And even in spite of the fact that he hasn't really had the best of support from the fans or, from his teammates or, whoever.
No question.
So I just wanted to give him a shout out, but
that's a good point. And I want to reiterate something that Mike said, the fact that he gets back fast on defense, because with the new Postecoglou, the whole strategy of the game where we're going to be pressing more, there will be more opportunities for the opposition to have fast breaks, and we will need speed getting back towards the ball on those occasions. So he's not a bad choice, when that stuff happens.
All right. We spent a lot of time talking about this game, the players, the system. We have to get to probably the most important question of the entire podcast. And I would love it if our guest would do the honors and ask this very important question. So Jay, please take it away.
Great. It's a question I've been thinking about for the entire podcast. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Oh, Jay, that was nice. I love it when you guys ask that question. Today, I had a couple of beers I was going for. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do. I think I'm going to go with this one because I do a lot of IPAs.
Them all. Mix them in one big cup.
we'll save that for the Wicked Spursy barbecue in a couple of weeks. Plug. Today, we're going to go with Green Empire Brewing. They're out of Colchester, Vermont. I love this brewery. Love this brewery. The first time I ever had one of their beers, I thought it tasted like fucking. You ever just reach into a box of cereal and pulled out like a box of Fruit Loops and just pulled them out and smelled it and then just ate the dry cereal? That's what it fucking tasted like. Side business. Tasted just like Fruit Loops cereal. This one is called Working Title. I picked it because I've never had it one, but it's look at the can. How fucking cool is that?
It is interesting. Experimental American Pale Ale.
Yeah. So
is it like a pink or a red background with blue polka dots?
Yeah, it is. It looks a little
Very
bit
nice.
Like John Fishman's dress that he wears with the donuts on it. A little bit like that, but it just caught my eye because it wasn't like any of their other beers. I was like looking at the beers. I'm like, I'll get a 4-pack of Side Business. Then I saw this and I was like, oh, that's Green Empire too. Look at that. So I said, experimental pale ale. Let's give it a shot. So I'm going to pop this open.
Working Title is also a good episode title for us, especially considering Dave is missing this podcast because of work. Just, spitballing some suggestions here. We can pass it along and see if our overlord Dave will select it.
Overlord. All right. So let's pour this in.
Wait, what do you call him?
Dave?
Depends if he's here or not.
No, I mean behind his back, not to his face.
I don't know. I don't know what to call him. Jesus Christ.
Just don't call him late for dinner, right?
Don't call him late for dinner. I'm pouring this like a child, like a small child.
My small child could pour better.
Agreed.
No, he can't. He really could.
So let's talk about pale ales. We wait for this to settle out. I might just drink it out of the can.
How many fingers?
Like 6. 4 of my fat sausage fingers. So let's talk about pale ales. Pale ales, American pale ales come in 2 different styles, like overly hopped American style ales, or they can be like what the Canadians call blonde ale. And blonde ale is just kind of it's similar to a lager in that it's crisp, it's clear, it's clean, but but it's run through a bright tank instead of dropping all the adjuncts out with through the cold crashing process. Typically with the newer style American pale ales, like Sierra Nevada, like really spearheaded the whole hops revolution in the mid to late 80s by using like shitloads of Centennial because they were out there, and that's, or not Centennial, Cascade, because that's all they had out there. That was like the Pacific Northwest hop that was grown. This one is Columbus and Lotus. Now, Lotus isn't always my favorite. It can give kind of an off taste if it's not brewed right. So we're gonna find out. Now that this is settled out, I'm gonna pour the rest of this. This is pretty clear. It's pretty crisp. It's looking super fizzy. Now you can see it.
There you go. Now
Wow,
that
all
looks
right.
like a beer.
It does look like a beer. It smells odd. It smells like a dentist's office. I want this
Oh
to be
no,
really
don't
good.
remind me of the I gotta go there in the
Whoa.
morning, man. Like I don't want to fucking think about the
It does. It smells just like the dentist's office, and it's bothering me already. God damn it. I didn't want this to happen. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to drink this fucking thing.
Mike, you're gonna have to tell me if it's worth me buying that to drink instead of getting a crown put in. Like if I have to go for the dentist experience, what would you recommend? Crown or working title?
To quote Ren and Stimpy, no, sir, I don't like it.
Okay, so I should
Go
just
Crown.
go
Do not-
crown.
I do not like this beer. Go with the crown. I do not like this beer at all. I would not drink it with a fox. I would not drink it in a box.
That- Okay.
I'd rather throw this in the can. I will not drink it. Sam,
Okay.
I am.
so
This beer
failed experiments.
failed experiment. This is it's not a good beer at all. I don't like it. It tastes like it smells. Like it tastes like the dentist's office.
Oh God.
You know what's really weird is that I work in the operating room, and they do big dental surgeries in the operating room sometimes. And they do it in an area called minor procedures. When you go over there in dental, you'll know dental is in there because you can smell the dentist office. It's something that the dentist brings with them. I don't know what it is, that smell, but you guys
It's
know
fear.
what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what we're talking
It's
about.
fear.
When you walk into the dentist's office and you smell that smell, this
Fear and
tastes and
mint.
smells like this. I don't like it. This is probably one of the worst pale ales I've ever had in my life. And I love Green Empire Brewing. And I'm so saddened. So
Just-
saddened.
Just drive down there and slap them for it.
I would love to. I really want to go down there this weekend and say, what are you doing?
Guys, come on.
Yeah,
Okay.
guys.
Can I ask you a question, Mike?
Yeah, you can.
If you had to
I gotta
compare
drink
this
this.
beer, if you had to compare this beer to a Spurs player, why is it Eric Dyer?
That's probably the best question that we've had all season.
Okay, so because all season we just started, Steve. So here's the reason.
You know
Jay.
what, Mike?
Here's the reason it's Eric Dyer. because when you pour it, it's slow to be able to react to drink. It doesn't seem to know what it is, whether it's a midfielder, whether it's a center back.
Mhm.
And the other thing is that it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Mhm.
Now I'm really looking forward to this song.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes you want to fight somebody after an FA Cup match.
So I guess
Well, I got a song picked out, so
You-
I can't wait to hear yours because I have a guess.
Ooh.
all right.
Not to put pressure on you, take your time. Finish that drink, actually.
Just
I'm
count
gonna
it right now and
give-
tell
yeah.
us the song. Come on, let's see it or hear it. Wait, are we doing songs? Is
He's
Dave
got a
gonna
lot to
like
go.
edit in some music for us here?
No.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with. Have I already used this one? I think I have.
I couldn't tell you right now.
God damn it. Billy Joel.
You and Billy Joel.
We didn't start the fire.
We didn't. Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire" reminds you of this beer, and you think is as bad as Eric Dyer?
All three.
Good God.
Bad
Are you
song.
sure you don't want like
Bad
Panic at the
song.
Disco's "We Didn't Start the Fire"?
That's even worse. That's
That's right.
that's the Eric Dyer. Like
That's the beer, right?
It's fucking terrible. And that song is so fucking bad that he just ran through fucking history really fast and tried to rhyme events in history. Like that guy is such a terrible songwriter.
you know,
And a
Dave.
terrible human being. This is a terrible beer, and
How
Eric
is he
Dyer is a terrible center
human
back.
being? This is the first I'm hearing this.
I'm not going to get into it with you, but first of all, he's a womanizer. That's the first part of it.
No,
but
that's Britney Spears you're thinking.
She's also a womanizer.
Anyway,
So that's where I'm at with this. Jesus Christ.
I was just gonna say, if Dave's a history teacher, you can't just go shitting on songs about history. Or he was
Well, no,
a history
he's
teacher.
not gonna
Now I
like
don't
that.
even know what he does. Probably something for the mob. I know.
He is in the mob. Well, he's got to go to New Hampshire all of a sudden. I mean, like out of the
What do you
blue.
do out in New Hampshire? You
Yeah,
make
he
somebody
calls us up.
disappear.
Dave calls us up today and says, "Hey, boss wants me to go to New Hampshire." You're like,
Yeah, this
okay.
guy Hoffa, gotta make him disappear.
Yeah, because he doesn't like unions. See,
It's
Jimmy
full
Hoffa,
circle.
it's all adding up now.
We've exposed you, Dave. I can't wait for him to
Hatred
listen
for
to
labor.
this.
He's gonna hate us.
All right, so that beer was working title, Green Empire Brewing, and the song was "We Didn't Start the Fire."
I didn't
by
even give
Billy
you a
Joel.
rating. I didn't even give you a rating.
I don't even. You know what? The rating is bad.
Do we need
Just
Is it
1.9.
higher?
one
Okay.
1.9. Everyone, there you have it.
This beer is going to be for Chris at the Wicked Spursy barbecue. Because I know
Nice.
Chris isn't listening right now, so he's not going to call me out on it. And if he is listening,
Love you, buddy.
I've pulled him out of the woods. I've pulled him out of the woods.
Well, can I tell you what my song guess was?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I was way off.
you can.
You kept mentioning the smell of the dentist's office. You kept saying the smell, the smell, the smell. So my guess was gonna Metal by Leonard Skinner.
Oh no, I lost it. That Smell by Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, you just
He just
Rip.
Mike looks for any opportunity he can to shit on Billy Joel.
I fucking
Yeah.
hate Billy Joel. I really hate Billy Joel. I think he's a talentless hack.
So we won't be using any Billy Joel music in our intro or outro ever. But speaking of outro, we're getting to the end of it. Where does time even go, guys? I mean, what a conversation!
I could talk to you guys all day. This is great. So yeah, like let's get into what we're gonna see at Man U and then some final thoughts.
All right, who do you want to break down Man U first?
Jay, go for it, buddy. What do you think about Man U?
Guests first.
Yeah.
Man U got lucky
Man U.
last week.
Oh, I think you're breaking up a little, buddy.
Oh. Okay, we're home. So they're like Mike, like all the Man U team, so we don't have to worry about
That's what's going on.
getting a free
Manchester
penalty
United
against
is
us.
sabotaging him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
man.
I feel I don't know honestly, but this is it's gonna take time for this team
It's
to build each other. These players are basically playing together for the back four.
Oh my God, this is awful. I'm so sorry, Jay. Jay, you're just completely cutting out.
All right.
Wait, I don't even know what's going on.
This has gone off the rails. You know, Dave
It
is
has.
sabotaging this whole thing. Dave and Chris.
Must be Dave.
Well, Dave's mad because we've, acknowledged his hand in Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance. So that's that.
Despite
But
probably not being alive.
I'll jump on to what I can only imagine Jay was talking about for Manchester United. I think the good news is that referees this week are going to be cautious about favoring them too much for fear of looking biased. We can have a whole fucking hour-long discussion about the state of refereeing in the Premier League, but no, I didn't really catch all of the United game, but from what I could tell, there's really not much that worries me. Like, this is weird for me as a Spurs fan to be looking at a team that just drew to Brentford, going into a game against United and thinking, yeah, we can probably do okay. I don't know that we're going to have any sudden revelations over this week that's going to get this team to immediately gel under Ange Postecoglou. But I saw enough against Brentford to make me feel comfortable with the squad. Like, I don't know that we're going to collapse completely against United. I don't think that it's going to be necessarily a difficult game. I think it'll be an open game. I think it'll be an entertaining game. I think we can win it. I honestly think we can beat United this weekend. Whether that happens is a completely different story. But I don't feel like it's out of reach. I don't feel like they are unbeatable.
For me, quite honestly, United in the first half looked like a team that was like gonna challenge for top two in the first half of that game. Second half of that game, I don't know what the fuck happened. They fell apart. One of the worst fucking non-calls I've ever seen in the history of soccer, outside of Bukayo Saka getting fucking karate kicked. I honestly, like, I don't know where refereeing is going, but that'll be in my final thoughts. But this game coming up, I'm going to tell you right now that Spurs have a very, very good opportunity to win this game. I said last week that Brentford was going to be a hard fought game, that it wasn't going to be easy because of the way that they play, the way they play the game of football, and that Spurs would win 3-2. Very nearly was with the dominance in the second half. We were at 82% possession at one point in that game. And I'm going to tell you right now, if we hold any sort of possession balance on United at all, we win this game going home. I think United has some issues in the back. They have issues in their midfield. I worry that they will be able to absorb some pressure, and that their transition game is going to be too fast for us, depending on who they have out there to play in the forwards. If they want to put the rapist out there, Mason Greenwood, they won't put him out there. But I just wanted to mention that they're still considering the fact that that motherfucker could actually be put onto the field, and it makes me sick to my stomach.
Disgusting.
But in the end, I think Spurs can pull out a draw or a win. The only thing that worries me is the transition game and who we have out there, if Romero is cleared from concussion protocol or not. We know that it was some sort of clerical error, even though the Brentford fans are out there saying it was some sort of conspiracy and that we didn't use our concussion guy, so they couldn't get an extra sub. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, because we would have got an extra sub too. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes around on social media. I think that Man United at times looked unbeatable. They looked scary good. And it's going to all depend on what team we see. We know that at Old Trafford, there is that Old Trafford tax, where United gets gifted 1 or 2 goals automatically, and you're playing from behind to start the game. But I think that they're not going to know what's coming on them from Ange Postecoglou's system. They're not going to know. They're going to be shocked from the get-go at what's going to happen to them with the pressing, with the midfield dominance, with the possession dominance. And I think if we hold 58 to 60% possession in that game, Spurs win this game easily. I think that Richarlison is going to need to get some more service. I think that he needs. I don't think Emerson Royale is lost his spot yet, but there's going to be a need to give service to the center forward, and I think that maybe Porro could have provided that service with a couple of through balls. We know that he's good on through balls. We know he whips in a lot of crosses. And I think that you see Decky and Sonny coming off the touchline a little closer to the box and playing less of like outside wingers and more like inside wingers, inside forwards in this incoming game. And I think that we beat Man United. But again, I don't think it's going to be easy. And I'm happy to come away with just a draw.
Awesome. So why don't we go right to closing thoughts and wrap this up for
let's see if Jay actually has a mic now.
I'm afraid to say anything. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
It keeps cutting out, man.
Sometimes we can.
Well, coys.
There we go. That's a good closing thought.
Damn.
Love it.
All right. Steven.
The only closing thought I have is directed to any of our social media users out there. We've had one fucking game this season, guys. All right. Stop looking for fucking scapegoats. We don't need people going in Reddit match threads and on X or Twitter or whatever the fuck Musk wants to call it these days. We don't need people going out on Facebook, trying to find, was it Decky who was the worst? No, it was Sanchez who was the worst. No, it was Skip who was the worst. Stop it. All right. It's one fucking game under a new manager, new system. We're trying to do something completely different than we've seen in the last few years. Just fucking enjoy it for a minute. All right. We don't need to all gang up on the players. We don't need to turn on the team. If you find yourself in a position where you finish watching the United game this weekend, win, loss, or draw, and the first thing that you think of is which player played the worst, fucking turn off your computer and go outside. Get away from social media. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to hear it. It's not productive. And it's fucking childish, right? Like, this is the opportunity for us as a collective group of Spurs fans to rally behind the team, behind the players, give them that second, third, fourth, fifth chance, except for Dyer. He's not good enough. Yeah, I know I'm being a hypocrite, but it's fucking our show, so I can be a hypocrite.
There you go.
But I'm not going on social media calling for Dyer's head. I'm coming onto this podcast and saying I don't like Eric Dyer. I don't think he should be starting for us or subbing in. But he's a decent person. I'm not trying to make him cry or send him threats on Instagram or whatever.
God damn him.
Just chill. All right. Those of you out there who feel the need to just go all in on people anonymously online because you have this strong sensation that Oliver Skip is the Antichrist, fucking go outside, dude. Just get out of the house, take a deep breath, take a walk, lay off the social media, and come back and rally behind Ange, rally behind the team, and try to be positive.
Love your Spurs, for God's sake.
Absolutely. Mike, how about you? What are your closing thoughts?
God damn it, Steve. That was so goddamn good. I should have gone first.
Oh, next time.
Next time. I'm just gonna bitch about the referees.
Please do.
So here's the deal. We saw a no call on our brand new keeper, which for me was a foul 100%, but they never call that shit anyway. We saw a call that was not called on the field overturned by VAR, which to me was ultra soft, especially given the fact that the guy reacted a second and a half after the actual foul happened on slow-mo. And then we saw what we saw, which is emblematic of the entire problem with VAR, which is the Onana challenge. In that game against Wolves, easily should have been a penalty. He came out, didn't touch the ball. VAR looked at it, decided that for some reason it wasn't a foul, even though he threw a punch, glommed onto two different players and knocked two different players down. 100% a penalty. 100%. And it makes me so angry because I sit there on United and Green and I bitch about the USL2 coaches, and my co-hosts on the show always give me well, these guys have second jobs. This isn't their primary job. Well, this is the primary job of these English Premier League referees. And the VAR referees are also English Premier League referees. If you're not going to use the replay the way that it's intended to be used, then get rid of it. That's the first thing. These fucking fingertip offside calls, these bullshit non-calls on the field. VAR can't decide because it's a non-call on the field. Well, they shouldn't have been able to decide in the Sonny situation because the ball was not in play at the time. Sonny stepped in the guy's foot, got tripped up, and then a second and a half later, the guy decides, oh shit, I better fall down because I was touched in the box. If you didn't call it on the field, it's too hard to call in VAR. It's not a foul. The problem is that we have allowed an imperfect human person to be able to make a call on the field. And if they're not making the call on the field because they're imperfect, they have this thought in their brain that it will be corrected by the person in the booth. Well, the
imperfect person in the booth.
The imperfect person in the booth. And the problem with that is that it allows the people on the field, the referees on the field, to be lazy and not do their job the way that they're paid to be doing it, the way they're intended to do it. And it happens in Major League Baseball, and it happens in the NFL. And the only place that it's actually used very, very well is in the NHL hockey. But we can get into that another time. I'm just saying, like, VAR needs to be revamped into a different system where we have people who are impartial to the game making these calls. Like,
Absolutely.
we know which referees support
All
which
of them.
teams, which teams. Michael Oliver is really the only one you can really trust, in my estimation. But
that's
the end of that.
Whole other topic.
That's a whole other kettle of fish, as they say. But in the end, the players still need to go out there. They still need to play the game. They still need to perform, and they still need to put the ball in the back of the net. And they can't worry about what the referees are calling or doing. Go out there, do your job to the best of your ability. And if you do that, especially with Spurs, we have a very talented club. You're going to overcome any shortcomings from the referees, any shortcomings from managerial tactics or whatever, because we have the talent to do it.
Well said. And
There you go. I
now,
like that.
now I've got Pigpen from the Peanuts waiting to be put into a bath. So I will leave you guys with this final thought. Don't be an asshole. All right.
And Jay's already said coys for us. So
I don't even know if my mic's working, so I don't know if I can say.
Oh, it's
anything.
working now. It's working now. Go
Yeah.
ahead. And
Come
say it for
on.
us.
No, it's not.
Quiz. And
be safe, everyone.
awesome. I got to duck. See you guys. Thanks for hopping on, Jay.